What's the deal, everyone? This is your boy Sauce D from Anger Management Productions, and this is going to be real shit talking. And right now we are back. So, how's everybody doing out there in this world? Everything's going is doing just fine over here on my end. I'll tell you right now, everything's going great. I was supposed to have we were supposed to have the show like yesterday, and but unfortunately, I had received some really touching bad news yesterday. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, she passed away on Monday, and I found this out. I found this out Monday night. It was sad because, and what really gets me the most was that I was at work. It was kind of slow, so I decided to give him a call, and he was at the gym. And I was like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while." And he's like, "I'll call you back." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Because I'll tell you right now, when I'm at the gym, I really don't like to talk on the phone. I don't I don't know how some people can do it, but not me. I don't like to talk on the phone when I'm at the gym. I hate it. I hate it so flipping much. But but yeah, my friend, he said that he was gonna call me back. I'm like, okay, I'll call you, I'll talk to you in a moment. He doesn't call me, which I had a feeling he wasn't going to call me back. I had a feeling he wasn't going to. It was going to probably be one of those, like I'll call you whenever you can. He'll talk to you tomorrow. I received a call about 11 at night. I just got finished winding down, playing a video game, and I was going to go lay down. I received a phone call. I'm not going to answer, and I was laying down, and I'm not going to answer the phone because my wife is snoring, so I didn't want to wake her up because even though she's snoring and everything like that, the slightest noise wakes her up. So I wasn't going to answer the phone. So I was like, sent my friend a text message, the guy who person called me. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he said, I need you to call. I call him and he breaks the news. He said, Rashad's dead. Rashad died. I'm over here like, what? I just got finished talking to him, and he said he's going to call me back. He said he died, and I'm over here like this is really messed up. This has been my friend for over 23 years. I've not met him back in 2023. I mean 2003. Sorry, 2023. I met him back in 2003. We when I first started working at the local grocery store in the city, HEB. We're here in South Texas, South Texas, and HEB is prevalent. But where we were at, it was in West Texas, and it was just one of three grocery stores in San Angelo. Because I believe that there was another Walmart there. They had a super Walmart. But either way it goes, um, I met him there, and one thing about me and him, we would talk sports all the time. We would talk football, college. We would talk pros. He was a diehard Chargers fan. Why? Because of LaDainian Tomlinson. He loved LaDainian Tomlinson, and that was his guy. But he was definitely a diehard Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan, and I'll tell you right now, it was kind of hard to please him it was really hard to please him when it comes to his fandom. He read when it came to quarterback play or running backs. I'll tell you like this, and I quote him. I quote him all the time, especially when I call football games. One thing he hates are Hollywood backs. He calls Hollywood backs or running backs that just always run on the outside instead of going in between the tackles. To him, when you just do that all the time, you're too busy trying to look for the big play. When you go in between the tackles, that's where you really play football because you're getting those hard yards. He loves it right there because when he played football, that's the type of running back he was. Me, I'm the same way. Played wide receiver. I I'm not a big fan of always running the nine routes or the deep eights. Nine routes are running a go route or running deep. or running an eight, a deep post. I'm not a big fan of when you just do that all the time, because the thing is that if you have a good safety, or your defenses definitely can really just do that. This isn't Madden or like a generic game like let's just throw the deep ball. No, football is beyond that. You have it's also it plays in there's 5 yards here, a dig route here, a little out route, comebacks, things of that. That's where it is right there. Because when you do that, you have those corners just sitting there expecting you to do that. You can probably surprise them taking the top, taking up top. And I hate when I see them just doing nothing but deep balls. I'm not a big fan of that, because trust me, you're just going to be sitting there wasting plays if that's all you're going to do all the time, because it's not just like that all the time. This is not like that. But as I was saying with Rashad, he's pretty much the same way. He was pretty much like um, everything about football was in between the tackles. Another thing about him, and I'll try to move this along real quick. When both of our mothers died 2 weeks apart from each other. My mom died on March the 18th, 2018. That week, while we were preparing for mom's services, his mom, who was supposed to be released from the hospital, had gotten admitted back into the hospital. And I want to say a week and a half later, she passed. That's probably one of the hardest things that both of us had to do, knowing that the person that raised us is gone, and now we're on our own. We're really on our own. Yeah, we have our siblings, and and I can say that right now, our siblings helped us get through this, and that brought us closer together. But me and Rashad, we also helped each other get through this moment as well, and we talked into this moment every time, because his birthday was around the same time about the anniversary of his mother's passing, and then my mom's passing. Then his birthday is the 19th, March the 19th, and then a couple weeks later, his mother's passing. I know it's tough on him. I know it was tough on him, because damn it, even to this day, if my mother's passing is still tough on me. Just remembering the day she passed. But I just want to say this right now before I start on with the show, because I've just been just lollygaggy talking because about this. Love on the people in your life. That's the most important thing to do. Love on the people in your life. Don't don't ever take them for granted and say that you'll talk to them tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There's never a guarantee that there's a tomorrow. So as far as I'm concerned, if you have a way of contacting somebody, contact them. Let them know, hey, I'm here, and it just that's the best way that I can be able to say this to you. But let's get on with the show real quick, because you know something, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that's on my mind. I was expecting to have a slate, to have a table to discuss things, but looks like I'm going to be going solo by myself, and that's fine with me. Like I said, normally on Wednesdays it was supposed to be talking about all 49ers. There's going to be the Sasha D. Robinson Sports Show, but I missed the show yesterday. I didn't do the show yesterday because I wasn't really feeling well. But so let's go ahead and do this tomorrow, right before the Niner game. I'll do a quick, about the game. Pre-show, pre-game about the Niners, what to expect and who to look forward to. Look forward to that. About that. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the news that's going on in the sports world today, because it's getting a little bit crazy out here. And one of the big things that's going on, and I'm gonna say this right now, is something that is about to cause a big controversy.
It's officially official. I just declared for the 2027 WNBA draft in April. Join me in this journey.
Lennis Cantor Freedom decided he's going to throw his hat into the
The
WNBA.
WNBA does not ban men who identify as women right now from playing in the
He
league.
would dominate the WNBA without batting an eyelash.
The number one prospect in the history of the WNBA.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
See you at training camp. Oh my stars. Wow. See you at training camp. Oh, I'm gonna tell you this right now. The WNBA has really painted themselves into the corner with this one, and I do not feel sorry for them at all. And this is the reason why I say this right now. And then this is where I think that where a lot of people are going to probably fight back with me on this, but I try to stay away from politics stuff like this. I don't like to talk it. I'll listen to somebody talk about it. I'll sit and smile in your face and I'll give you the ignorant smile like yeah, okay. The reason why is because when you have something like this, a conversation like this will can probably go from civil to downright Hatfield and McCord and Hatfield and McCord. So that's where it can go real quick, and I'm trying to avoid that. I try to avoid it, but when I saw this, I started laughing. A lot of people were talking about it. I even saw that a couple of people have been saying that in his canter, and even Royce White is another thing. Royce White, he says that he's wanting to enter the WNBA, and he's going to threaten legal action if they refuse to pick him. Why? Because he says that he identifies as a woman. This is why I say I don't feel sorry for him, and this is why I say that this is definitely something that I know for a fact that can probably come back to bite everybody in the ass. To bite everybody in the ass. And I saw this coming a mile away a long time ago when they were starting to talk about bathroom rights and who has the right to go to the restroom and who can go where. And if I identify as a woman, I can use the woman. If I identify as a man, I can go. I saw this happening a mile ago because all it takes is just somebody saying identify. And everybody's like, oh, come on, come all. You can come and join me. You can do this. And if something told me somebody's going to take advantage of this because you're going to make a mockery of this. You see, this is the thing when we're trying to make stuff safe for everyone or we're trying to do inclusion for everyone. You're trying to do inclusion, which again, before I start my rant, this is not an anti LGBTQ message. This is far from it. But this is the reality check, and this is the problem. Like I said, I'm going to probably piss people off, but this is the reality check. When you're trying to say that you're one thing, but you identify as another, that doesn't mean everybody has to accept that because we all know one thing. If you're either you're a male, you're a woman, we separated that. Now you're telling people that it's okay that hey, I identify as the other, so we have to accept you as that, so you can come over. Okay, fine then. But then you have to realize you still have those tools. You still have those tools. Just because you say it, but you still have those tools. So all it takes is just to say that I identifies it. So that means that I can just go ahead and and just do all the things that the other gender can do. Is that what we're saying here? Because if that's just the case, then if that's just the case, then I can tell you right now, that's going to be a hard thing. That's going to be how can I say? That's really not a good thing to look at. Not a good thing. Here's another thing that I was looking at because when I saw this episode. I thought this was funny about this.
Champion of the Strong Woman competition, Strong Woman. Miss Women, do you feel ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready, David. There are just so many amazing women athletes out here today. It makes me so proud.
Now, this is the first year that a trans woman is in the competition. How do you feel about that?
Amazing. I feel honored to be a part of history. I have a lot of incredible trans friends who are athletes, and so we're all inspired this woman's competing.
Uh-huh. And have you actually ever met Heather Swanson?
No, I've never competed against her before, no.
She's not exactly your average trans athlete.
Well, what is an average trans athlete? Honestly, I find that kind of bigoted, David.
Okay. Heather Swanson is actually joining us now. Miss Swanson, how does it feel to be competing today?
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman. Now that I can compete as female, I'm ready to smash the other girls.
And is it correct you just started identifying as female 2 weeks ago?
I'm not here to talk about my transition. I'm here to kick some ass. Let me tell you something, Dingleberry.
David Perry.
I'm gonna roll up the other women here, and I'm gonna smoke them. I am the strongest woman this state has ever seen.
Any words for the challenger, Miss Woman?
Good luck, Heather.
Luck is for dudes.
Well, with that, let's get right to the action.
Think about this, and think about that. Simple. All it took is for a man. Even though it's South Park, and South Park is just it's fictional, and they blow a lot of things out of proportion, but they're funny. But one thing that they also do is that they bring some of the stupidest things that come around, and they show how stupid it is. Now, I'm not saying transitioning whatever is stupid. We're saying the way how they went about how everybody they're doing the inclusion thing. I don't think that they thought this through, because now you have Royce White and Enos Cantor who's saying, "Hey, we want to go ahead and be in the WNBA also." Now, what's good now? Now, the thing that the WNBA is going to have to is going to get together, and they're going to talk about, well, we need to get together to see how to identify what is a woman. The reason why, like, how hard is it just for us to identify, for us to say what is a woman? We all know what a woman is. The problem is that we don't want to offend somebody who's transitioning over to say, oh, well, you're actually a woman, because if you say that, then you're just saying that you're a woman. So then you're opening the floodgates for anybody just say, I'm a woman too. So let me go ahead and go about this. And you let them in also. You see how it is when there's a lot of males, when they compete with women, we've seen them mopping the floor with them. We've seen them just mopping the floor, running, running the streets with them. So, and it's not fair, and it's far from fair for any of these young ladies who's worked hard to get to the highest level, to get murked or to get beat by a bunch of biological men who we knew was going to beat him. I'm pretty sure you see the message boards, and his cancer is going to dominate, which he is. He's a professional athlete. Royce White, he's definitely a pro also. Even though that his college career, his pro career ended short term, and it really didn't take off. But these guys are pros. They're taller, stronger, faster, and now you're going to put them in there to play the WNBA. So if you open the door there, then it's going to take just anybody to say, well, you know what? I identify the woman too. I want to play my name, and you can't stop them. And this is the problem. And this is where I have a problem with this now, because you have other people saying that Royce White and Enes Kanter need to stop. They're playing around. They're joking around. They're joking around with this, whatever. So this is my question that I want to say to everybody else. Do we say this to anybody else who's transitioning and wanting to play with the women? Do we tell them to stop playing around? Do we mock them? Slippery slope. You're picking and choosing who we need to support and who we don't want to support. We're over here trying to uplift one thing, but we're down degrading somebody else. You see, this is the problem where I have with that. We all live in a world where where it's not like we live in a world where everybody is not built equal. This is my thing when it comes to the WNBA, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm going all over God's green earth with this, but I'm bringing this back over here. Fix this, because this is not fair to that league that was built, that came out back in 1997. And I remember watching, sitting in my friend Chris's den, and we were watching the WNBA, watching the Houston Comets play up against the New York Liberty in the championship game, watching Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, and all those girls over there, and sitting there and watching those girls just sitting there working hard. Teresa Weatherspoon, you're watching these girls work as hard just to get to this level. And you're trying to find a way how to include everyone. But the problem is that you're opening that door, which should not have been opened. You need to fix this. Fix it quick, because if not, the story is going to get blown over, and now it's not going to be fair to any of those young ladies. And right now, this is another reason why I'm saying that you need to fix this. So let's just play the hypothetical game and say that Royce White or Enes Kanter does not get picked, and they take it as a joke. They say, well, it's for everybody. We're going to do inclusion for everyone. Enes Kanter and Royce White are not picked. They follow through with it just to prove a point. They can say that they're discriminating against me because I'm trans. I'm not a biological woman, so you're discriminating against me. You see where this goes here. Get this shit taken care of, because I'm telling you right now, this is not fair to those young ladies who are competing hard. But unfortunately, it's going to come back to haunt. It's going to come back to haunt this league. They should have gotten this taken care of a long time ago. And to anybody who's trans and you want to play basketball, go into the freaking NBA. If you're a trans woman and you're saying you want to play basketball, play with the dudes, because again, I'm just gonna say that you're bigger and stronger, and you're gonna dominate them. Why don't you play with the dudes? Slippery slope, everyone. This is a problem that needs to be taken care of. I'm not saying we need to separate, segregate, or, as I'm saying, you need to go to your own planet, go back to where you came from. No. But this is different than like if when it's race, like when it's race relations, like like back in 1940s and 50s, blacks and whites, because again, black men or Hispanic men playing in the same one with white men. They're men. It's just that you just don't like the person because of their skin color. They're still men though. Right now you have somebody who says that I'm a man identifying as a woman and I want to play with in the women's league and I'm a lot bigger and stronger than them and I can dominate and you're going to take away everything that those young ladies have worked hard to get. But in the same breath, they want to be included with everything else. See, this is a slippery slope. But we have right this is not a slippery slope. This is a problem that should have been taken care of. You see, everybody wants to be included in here, but we didn't think this through. We're just opening the door, say, come as you are. But nobody had thought through about the ramifications. Now that we know that there are ramifications, how are we going to get this taken care of? So now I guess I can be able to say got that off my shoulder. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was NCAA preseason polls, but because I don't have a roundtable to discuss that, looks like we could be talking about some NFL preseason football because that's what we got next. That's going to be coming up, and they're going to have some games tomorrow. Oh my stars! I love football. That's one thing about me. That I love is football. And tomorrow we're gonna have a couple of games. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you one thing that we have. We're gonna have a couple of games, and like if you can see this right now, we're gonna have. If you can see, we have the tomorrow. We're gonna have the Lions and the Bengals. Going to be looking forward to that game. Packers and the Steelers, Colts and the Patriots, Chargers and the Texans, Cardinals and the Raiders, and the Titans versus my Niners. That's going to be all tomorrow. 6 games are going to be on the docket, everyone. Of course, I want to look forward to seeing the Niners, and I'll talk about that tomorrow. But all these games I'm going to want to look forward to because I want to see exactly how things are going to look, or how a lot of teams are going to be built for tomorrow. For the season, especially the rookies, free agent, undrafted. That's the one that what I really love looking forward to are undrafted free agents. How are they going to fare into their upcoming teams? I know a lot of people, and they keep talking about this over and over, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. Carson Beck with the Arizona Cardinals. Everybody's in love with that kid, and they're hoping that hey, he can be able to he can probably take over Jacoby Jones' starting spot, take him to his starting spot. They're already elevating him after his Hall of Fame game performance. Like, oh, he's gonna be the next thing. I'm sorry, but the thing is that I don't take I don't take stock in preseason games. I just like to see how efficient how a player looks. The thing is that what I'm looking for, wanting to see, is how are players going to look. I want to see how the Houston Texans are going to look. Because C.J. Stroud, who definitely looked like he was a piece of shit last season, and keeping the Houston Texans looks like trying to keep who's trying to have them lose a couple of games. But if it wasn't for that defense Houston had kept them into a lot of games, can he be able to step up and show up? The Chargers, again, a good friend of mine, my good friend Rashad, he was a Charger fan. But one thing about Rashad, he was in love. He wanted to see about that running game. Can the Chargers be able to have a consistent running game behind Justin Herbert? That's the thing that I'm going to be looking for. I think the Colts said that they're going to have Anthony Richardson start at quarterback. I think the reason why they're having him start because they're trying to trade him away. They're trying to trade him away. They're trying to get some film out there and say like, hey, we'll trade him for a bag of peanuts. Can somebody just take him off our hands? So that's what I'm thinking right now. Lions and the Bengals. I want to see how the Lions defense is going to be able to look up, especially Aiden Richards, Aiden Hutchinson, the way how they looked last year. They were a disappointment. I thought the Lions were going to be able to make the playoffs last year. They didn't. Um, and then with the Bengals, also another team who was disappointing. So I really want to see how the Bengals are going to be able to look at this also. The Packers and the Steelers, not really caring about this game. It'll be on. I'll look at the highlights. I don't care. But yes, 6 games are on the docket. Football is back. And I am excited. I'm ecstatic. I am grateful that it can come back. And hopefully this year we would have some great football, some great games this year where we can be able to just say, "Hey, that was a good game," and some new stars can come and can be able to show up. Some unsung teams that can be able to come out of the woodworks, and everybody's like, "Hey, remember?" This team was left for dead, and I can tell you the team that I'm more excited to look forward to seeing is next this year. Just speaking out of the fan, is the Cleveland Browns. I know everybody's going to say like, "Well, the Cleveland Browns they suck." Yeah, but you know something that I've always liked Todd Monken, and now that he's got a shot at being a head coach, and he's an offensive minded head coach, and you can be able to consistently, if you have a quarterback consistently, if you could believe in them. It looks like from what I've been reading and hearing about, Shador Sanders is having a great camp. So if he can be able to, if he can take the reins from Deshaun Watson, and he can be able to grow within that and be able to mature within that offense. You've already had a good defense. I know everybody's going to say, "Well, it was Miles Garrett and he's gone," but they got back Jared Verse, and they have a good defense. I know Miles Garrett really makes that go, but still. Um, I'm gonna just say another reason why why I'm looking forward for the Cleveland Browns. When I was a kid, and I just loved watching football, and just loved it. And one thing, watching NFL primetime, and then watching Bernie Kosar, Kevin Mack, Leroy Hoare, Wester Slaughter, that defense, Eric Turner. Even Ernest Biner was there. He went there, went back to Washington, and then came back. I liked the Cleveland Browns. I wasn't a fan, but I liked the Cleveland Browns. I always felt that Cleveland Browns was definitely going to be that team that everybody was going to be like, "Hey, that's them." And I remember in 1994 when when they got Andre Rison. No, that was Rison went there in '95. I'm sorry, 1995. Andre Rison went there. They had him, Derek Alexander, Michael Jackson was their wide receiver. Their three headed wide receiver. Vinny Testaverde was their quarterback at the time because Bernie left. And I'm thinking this is going to be a great team. Wow. And they did dick shit because they went to the playoffs last year, that year before. And I want to say that they won in the wild card against the New England Patriots in 1994, the 94-95 season. They went to the playoffs. They went to the playoffs. I remember watching that game because the Patriots stinked and dunked to trying to get in the field goal range. I always remember watching Drew Bledsoe do that. That was his second year. Led them into the playoffs, and but the next year they got Andre Rison in free agency, and I'm like, wow, Derek Alexander, who was coming off of a good rookie year. Michael Jackson was already a good wide receiver, and then you also bring in a player like Andre Rison over there, and then you have somebody like Vinny Testaverde who went from a really shitty situation in Tampa. Now you're over there. I would love this, and they did shit. And then all the stuff that happened with Cleveland, leaving, going to Baltimore, and then coming back in 1999, drafted Tim Couch. They were shit. I mean, 2002 when they had Kelly Holcomb as their quarterback, and when they were real close to beating Pittsburgh that year. Kelly Holcomb was lighting up the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden Pittsburgh came back and won. I want to say Tommy Maddox with Steelers starting quarterback, and they came back and won. It was a shootout, but but like I said, it was. I remember that game, and then they've been shit, and it's just one of those things that I'm just like, what's wrong with you all? You guys are just, like, this was once a mighty team, feared, and now you guys are a joke. Like the New York Jets. But the Jets were never mighty. You guys were just a joke. There were times when you were good, you pick and choose the times, but there have been, about that. But I'm just saying, it's just like one of those things where you're like, what is wrong with you? But I want to see the Cleveland Browns be able to at least do something this year. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm hoping this year that they finally get their house in order, that they can finally have a foundation to build on, and even if they don't make the playoffs this year, at least be a threat to the AFC North. That's just all I'll say. At least be a threat to the AFC North. Don't be like like you're getting ran out of the gym. At least have a foundation. Then you can go ahead and go from there. That's what I'm hoping for when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Another team that I'm actually looking forward to seeing this year when it comes to it. And I'll say this right now, and I'm not ashamed to say of saying this, and I apologize for my wording, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the Buffalo Bills look. Yeah, the Buffalo Bills, because my younger brother, he's a diehard Bills fan, and I see the disappointment in his eyes whenever the Bills are always getting their ass, getting lose. And what does he do? He takes it out on Madden and he beats everybody in Madden. But when they made it to the AFC Championship a couple of years ago, and they were real close to pulling it off, I thought for once he would have seen the he could have been excited, because I think the Bills would have gave Philadelphia a run for their money. I really think so. I don't think the Bills would have. I don't think the Bills would have gotten ran out the gym, out off the field like how the Chiefs did. But I think that this would be their year. So with that being said, football season is back. We got 6 games on the docket. What games do you like? What games are you looking for? What is there anything in particular that you're interested in, about this year? I'm just excited. I just want to say this right now, and I'll close out. I'm gonna close this out with this: love up on on your loved ones. Love up on your loved ones. No telling what if you'll never see them again. There's been people who go to sleep and never wake up. People who say, "I'll call you back," and they never call you back. You may have a longtime friend who you guys have been tight like anything, and they move away, and you guys keep in contact, and then you lose contact. Appreciate those who are in your life because one day they may be gone. That's just my message to you. I'm Sasha D. Robinson with Banger Management, Real Shit Talking, and tomorrow we're going to have a very special show. There's going to be the Sasha D. Robinson Sports Show. We're going to do a pregame show for the 49ers game when they have their preseason first preseason game of the season against the Tennessee Titans, and we'll just do a real quick recap of that game. We'll make it real quick. And hopefully next one that we have, we'll have a roundtable. We'll get some people involved in this. I'm Sasha D. Robinson, and I'll be signing off. Until then, have yourself a good night, everyone. I'm out.